Okay, I see we're back on the screen. We are back from closed session. Vice Chair Crandall, do we have any action that was taken in closed session?
Yes, we do. Mr. Chair, I move to appoint Stephen L. Carter, Jr. as Interim Director of Lake County Department of Social Services, effective May 4th, 2024, at existing salary.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. And then we will,
Comment?
oh, do we have a public comment? Oh, we already voted and everything. I see none in the Zoom room, and we have an empty chamber. All right, let's move on to item 7.2, I believe it is. Yes, 7.2. I'm going to share my screen, and we will attempt to do this swiftly, but still doing it appropriately. Okay, so this is our annual PEG update through our agreement that we have between the two cities and the county. This is supposed to be done in the month of April. Just to let you know, as I've been going and reading through the agreement, there's certain changes that I am going to propose that we make, and that'll come back at a later time. There's certain things that request that we submit a budget to the county by March. We're not ready by March to submit a budget, and so there's little things like that that I just want to make sure that we are meeting the agreement that we have resolved, and so an amendment will be coming soon. Our board members have not changed greatly in the last year or so. Right now, representative from Clear Lake is David Claffey. Representative from Lakeport is Michael Froyo. Our education representative is Kevin Mack, and I apologize, Kevin, for not fixing the typo on your name, and I am the board's representative for the County of Lake. We still have one vacancy. We are looking for somebody to join, and without being too forward, we are looking for a female participant to join our team so that we can at least create some diversity within our group. Our station manager is Thomas DeWalt, who has been holding the fort down, programming the TV station and ensuring that all the hardware functions appropriately. And then we also have a chief editor, Adam Giordino. Our budget for 23-24 that had been approved and it was just actually recently amended. The approved budget is $36,075. $25,000 of that, which is $15,000 for the regular support from the County of Lake. I added the $10,000 from the contract for the videography services to the municipal advisory councils. So that's $25,000 from the County of Lake, $8,000 from the City of Clear Lake, and $2,000 from the City of Lakeport. Those are just the big ticket revenue items. Our operating budget expenses match the revenues, $36,075. Our station manager, including the $10,000 that has been provided for the videography, is $22,000. Editor is $4,800, and facilities and insurance that we pay to the City of Clear Lake, which is kind of washes out as an in-kind contribution, is $8,000, and they also do our annual audit for us as well as part of their overall city audit. Our capital budget revenue, we have pass-through dollars. It's actually a surprise to me. I would assume as we progress in the world of digital media that we would see the cutting of the cord of cable becoming a bigger and bigger thing, but we are actually seeing increases in our pass-through dollars. It's quite a surprise to me. I thought we would see either a major drop-off or at least some sort of drop-off, but we are still getting, it was $56,000, now we're up to over $60,000. And so what we've done is we've just allocated $60,000 that can be placed into our equipment. Capital budget is restricted on what it can be spent on. We actually spent about $16,000, I think, on the AV unit in order to support the Max with the videography services that we've provided. Our current activities is we support local events. We have a sound system and are able to do videography. We do support the, we have a amazing sound system and support the concerts in the park in the City of Clear Lake. We are continuously offering those same services to the City of Lakeport, Lake County. Anyone can go ahead and call us. There is a cost for using the sound equipment in order to ensure that we have a technician, because it is high-tech sound system. We want to make sure it's used correctly, and also in order to capture some dollars to be able to put that into our bank so that we can upgrade and repair the system as needed. But if you are having a concert and you want to utilize this sound system, please do reach out to PEG. Whether you're a nonprofit or a local government agency. We are also, because of our contract with the county, supporting our local MACs with the mobile AV unit. We'll discuss that a little bit later. And what we're seeing is we started off with 4 of the 6 MACs, and eventually the Middletown Area Town Hall took interest to the mobile AV unit and contacted PEG, and now we are also doing the Middletown Area Town Hall. And I know because of the interaction we had with the general plan at the Lower Lake Community Action Agency, that they are having some interest in making sure that PEG is also there to provide the same service. We did create new revenues because of this videography agreement, and in fact, it's even alerted others that were available. So the Farm Bureau has reached out to us, Lake County EDC, Economic Development Corporation, has reached out to us, and the Chamber of Commerce has reached out to us in order to provide similar services. And so we are expanding the knowledge of the availability of PEG services, which is great. Also, we have our website, lakepegtv.com, and we are doing our best to keep that updated with everything that's going on that's PEG related. When we did the original contract for the MACs, I had promised that I would bring back some details of how things are going, and so this identifies all of the MACs that we have been doing work for. I did not put in any of the general plan stuff that was paid by a separate contract through community development, unless it happened to land on a normal day for the MACs to get these services. I know I have had discussions with admin to ensure which bucket are we using for this and which bucket do we need to create a new contract for. And so as you can see, these are the details. We can go through those by just reviewing the presentation that's attached to our agenda. But overall, 37 total recordings, 160.5 total hours spent, total recording cost of $6,420, and an equipment lease cost of $1,850 for an overall total of $8,270. And that is the cost. We started in June, so we kind of had an extra month in there because we were really late in getting our equipment together and trying to get things prepared to get started. So this is for about 11 months worth of services. I did just submit an invoice for April. There'll be another one for May and June, and there may be a need for me to come back to see if there needs to be a amendment to maybe 10,500 or 11,000 in order to ensure that we cover the costs of all the services for the year, because our contract only goes through 23-24 and is a maximum not to exceed 10,000. But I wanted to make sure and be transparent and share the level of work that we've been providing and working with the county to create better transparency, historical archives, and everything else that we had discussed when the original contract was approved. Our future activities, we're still wanting to fill in the vacant seat. We want to work with our schools. In fact, there is something in our agreement that I recognize, I didn't add it to this, that we also want to work with our library. And so I'm going to approach Christopher Veach, our librarian, and see how it is that PEG and the library can work together. I am also throwing around some ideas with First Five. There is a monthly book of the month, and if we can get somebody who can represent a specific group that can read the book in front of the camera, we can go ahead and post those on PEG. We used to do that, not we, but First Five was doing this during COVID-19 at one point in time, inviting people to go ahead and read children's books. And I don't know if you guys received, random topic, I don't know if you guys received a book from the NACO on explaining the counties, but that to me is one of those books that I think would be great to read. If you haven't seen it, please look for it. They should be in your inbox. I thought it was one of the most amazing things. Sorry, side note. We want to continue to increase our operational budget. Our operational budget is where we can increase our salaries, maybe increase our staffing, things of the kind. And our capital budget is very restricted on what can be spent, and so we're very limited in the scope of work and services that we can do internally, and we want to continue to grow so we can operate at the best, highest efficiencies and levels. We want to increase our memberships and our viewerships, whether it's on YouTube or whether it's on Channel 8. We are still working to activate Lakeport PEG Connection. I apologize that is still on our future activities. There has been some pretty major upgrades that has occurred within the city of Clear Lake's studio. Here in our chamber, I believe we're done with those upgrades. And for some reason, we got as close as everything working for Lakeport, but for some unknown reason, the sound was not coming through. So now that everyone's been upgraded, that leaves Lakeport last, and so now we can really focus on just bringing that conversation to an end and making sure that that goes live. And of course, we want to pursue partnerships. And one of those is, I just had a meeting recently with our local community radio, KPFZ. We are going to analyze, it's been approved to move forward to at least analyze and see what the potential is. PEG would pay for the capital improvements to the KPFZ studio for sound and video, so we can now create podcasts, use those podcasts, and put them on PEG, and obviously KPFZ can use those podcasts however they want. We could put it on our YouTube channel, and it's going to be a voluntary thing. It doesn't have to be every single show on KPFZ as a podcast. It could just be that we get one a week that becomes a podcast that we place on PEG, but we're looking to build that relationship. And one of the things that I thought was really interesting, and we had not thought of it during our initial discussions at PEG, was KPFZ mentioned the emergency use of KPFZ, and that this could potentially lead to a connection, a live feed connection during emergencies. So not only is KPFZ on the radio live with some updates on what's happening during emergencies, but also we can go ahead and utilize PEG for the same purpose. And I think that's kind of an exciting scenario, especially if we can invite folks like our sheriff or our OES to speak on behalf of the county and what's happening during those times. And so at this moment in time, that's it for our annual update and our annual report. I do want to open up for Part B of the conversation, which is I can easily put an item on the agenda to bring a contract and look at extending services for PEG, for MAC, but I kind of want to get a feel of how is that working for you guys? How do you feel about it? My thoughts were instead of a one-year contract, maybe looking at a 3-year contract and still looking at $10,000, since I think we can do better, be more efficient, depending, of course, if we add the BVAC to that, if that's an interest of the new Municipal Advisory Council. But I wanted to hear from you your thoughts on me bringing back a contract for further extension of that service. And that's my report. Supervisor Simon?
It's working well. There's no going back now. You know, we need to figure it out on the budgets, but I think a 3-year contract might be a good conversation at $10,000 a year, so a $30,000 contract you're talking about. But hear a lot of good things. You know, I know the Old Town math likes having the opportunity. There are challenges. We all know that, with whether it's Zoom or whatever wasn't working that night. But they like having the recording, so yeah, I'm interested in having the conversation.
And just a real quick comment on that, some of the trouble that we've been having. I know one of my ideas, and it hasn't gone through yet the PEG board, but so the video service we can't offer without having extra funds because our operational budget is so tight. But our capital budget currently, and I apologize for not being transparent, we have $300,000 that we've collected of the pass-through. So my plan is to approach every town hall, and I know that it's not owned by the county. It would have to be a conversation with each entity that owns those town halls to see if we can upgrade their systems so that we can get better outcomes and more reliability on the way the service works when it comes to internet, when it comes to everything else. I think that it would benefit PEG, so therefore that's a good reason for why PEG would be able to use those funds for that. And it would also benefit those, typically their local government or their local nonprofits, and so it would benefit them in other ways as well if that was something that we can approve. Obviously, that would require many, many different conversations in order to get to that, but that's one of my thoughts on how to enhance that experience and that reliability of the service.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I think it's fine. It's been we had it down with the Cauberry Council where people could participate on Zoom, and now less people are able to participate, but it's recorded, so it's on YouTube, so it's fine.
I agree. I've been working with Thomas. He's the main technician that comes, because commonly I used to do them by myself, and so it was very difficult getting hammered and by the public and also try to do this and that, and yeah, I mean, it just exacerbates the situation of what I have to do to report there or help or whatever the case may be. So it really did do a really good service. I do understand that there's been difficulties, but at the same time, in working and seeing what Thomas is dealing with, it has to do with the actual capacity of what each area has when it comes to that. It's not necessarily for example, in Lucerne, they have a really good system in place when it works, and then sometimes they just don't have enough, and it has to do with the actual internet service provider. It has nothing to do with the place or the equipment or anything like that. It's just that. It's the fiber or whatever, and that's why we're working on getting, fiber to Lake County.
And I really feel, and I appreciate all of the feedback, I really feel that I need to do a better job, at least as the chair of PEG, to reach out to MediaCom, because we are kind of an extension of MediaCom in a way. PEGs are not just here in Lake County, they're nationwide, based on a demand to create that access for public education and government. And I feel that we have a ability to have conversations with MediaCom to help ensure that there's good reliability. I mean, it would be nice to speak for the whole community, but at the very least, we can work on the individual buildings itself. I know that for the homeless town hall that we were invited by Lakeport, which I forgot to mention that Lakeport also had worked with PEG, we, in working with Chief Rasmussen, had dropped a MediaCom connection because the internet was not working very well through what was already there at Soparis Theater, and we were able to have a pretty reliable stream. And so I think there's ways for PEG to work with MediaCom to try and enhance the services that are available at those town halls.
I think Stephen was going to say something.
Mr. Carter.
I had a kind of a question where, because there's a lot of internet connection issues in certain areas, even if for the Max or even other activities that CDD does, has PEG looked into the mobile Starlink that you can use at these events and would have the 300 megabytes down, good internet, and could potentially even rent it out to certain things like CDD where they have their areas that are very remote? Possibility.
We had not thought of that. I know that I was just having a discussion with Sam Houston earlier today about the mobile Starlink, but definitely something to look into. I think first and foremost, I would start with MediaCom, just because, again, we are somewhat of an extension of MediaCom, and making sure to see what's possible before expanding out further. Anything else before I open it up for public?
I agree with the MediaCom conversation. This is, there are a lot of grants and opportunities out there for connectivity. We're not asking to connect the whole community up, just these specific areas to spread the word. So I think that's a great conversation to start there.
All right.
It's a very good cover. They have a very good backup too. So they're like, we can't, as of right now, live stream, but it'll be on Zoom, or not Zoom, it'll be on YouTube, so you can look from there.
Yeah, and I know that we definitely hit that wall hard with the general plan conversations, especially in the new buildings that we went to that we've never really had the experience of being there. It was kind of an unknown, and I think the majority of them went without the Zoom access and things like that. So we need to work on that reliability. I'm going to open it up for public comment. We have Betsy Kahn.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Thank you so much. Now, I really can't argue with any of the great improvements that have been made. And certainly Supervisor Spatier knows that I am wholeheartedly supportive of the project that he proposed to KPFZ last Thursday evening. I'm looking forward to it. I've been in favor of creating a radio and television partnership with the PEG TV providers since 2010. On the other hand, I have to explain to you that in no way are these meetings adequate to provide participation, real-time, live participation in the meetings through the remote virtual software programs. We can watch something. We can sometimes try and raise our hands. We're not allowed to use the chat window, which would be a way of informing the broadcasters of broadcasting difficulties. You know, there are certainly levels of Zoom software packages that can be purchased that are very highly sensitive to even HIPAA restrictions. And I would encourage you to consider that these are not tools that can be used by disabled people, and that you have to include those people like me who have good contributions to make but cannot use the tools that you have. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I do know that we did recently switch over to what we had intended to use, which was the webinar Zoom, which is what we use here currently in the chamber as well, where it does have those restrictions. But maybe we can play around with the exact restrictions, because I think there might be some play there. Phone 6205.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Oh, thank you so much. This is Bart Levinson. I wanted to thank Supervisor Pyska for her comment about Cobb Area Council. That's been my experience as well, that before PEG was handling the meetings, we could call in and listen and participate in a live way with the meetings. And that's been true for all of the MAC meetings. And so from a consumer point of view, a citizen point of view, I'm not sure that the supervisors are aware of this is an enormous change since PEG took over, and it isn't working yet. I know it can, but it isn't yet. And so the disability access, the citizen access, the ability to interact, and these are all our rights to do, they need to be also in place. And my request would be that you have somebody in PEG who's monitoring the meetings, who can get feedback from somebody like Betsy Kahn about what is or is not working. Because when you are running a meeting and it isn't, we can't hear it, or we hear it and then it's cut off, we really need to be able to inform you so that that can be fixed. So the Macs were doing better handling their own Zoom than the PEG has been doing handling it for them from a consumer public point of view. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. And that is all for public comment at this moment in time. And I do know that it is not perfect. I know that there are issues, sometimes technical issues within Zoom, sometimes technical issues within hardware. I'd love to say it's a simple setup, but it's not necessarily a simple setup. We're trying our best, and I want honest feedback from the supervisors so that we can make sure to not utilize funding if it's not necessary to use those funds if it's not working for you. So please reach out anytime that you feel that it's not going in the direction that you wish for it to go. I know that I try often to be with PEG during these meetings if I can, so that I can help facilitate some support to Thomas DeWalt. But I know that we are striving to make things better, hence the request that I'm going to make to see what we can do to upgrade some of these town hall centers so that it can make it that much easier and much more reliable. If you would like to make a public comment, you are absolutely a public member. If I'm allowed to.
I'm sorry. Having been the architect of that system, I just need to let everyone know that it's not the equipment that ends up being the problem. The problem ends up being the various service providers. Cobb Area Council had 3 different service providers that they were working in between. That was AT&T, another AT&T, and they were also using Verizon, and they were also using, there was another service provider. All of them were, and they were having problems. If you don't have a minimum of input that you can use with broadband service, it doesn't matter what service you're going to try to stream, it doesn't work. And what happens is, in our situation, if we do have an interruption in service, yes, we look bad. And so the best thing we can do is, if that starts to happen, if there's an interruption, is to record the meeting and provide it afterwards, so that it's not a frustrating experience for the end users or the community, and there is a successful reproduction of that event. So I just needed to say that it's not PEG's service, it is the internet service provider, and there are many, and all have had challenges. So I just needed to say that because I know that PEG, I know that Supervisor Sabatier have put in a lot of work into this. I know I've put in a lot of work into it, and so there needs to be some clarification.
Thank you very much for the clarification. Okay, let's go and finish this up with phone 6205, if you could be brief.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Well, it's become clear to me recently that this is a disability issue as well. I have become disabled. I've become homebound, and I participate civically, and I want to continue to do that. And it isn't just an internet issue. There is something going on where the town halls could operate their own Zoom by themselves, and it worked better before PEG than it is working now. So there is something about whether it's a competition of the PEG equipment using more juice or whatever it is. What needs to be fixed is to correct, maintain, and ensure public access and disability access to these meetings. Thank you.
Thank you for that, and that is absolutely our goal. Okay.
And the town halls in my district didn't do their own Zooms, so I just wanted to note that.
Okay. So that we're going to close public comment. If there's any final comments from board members, I'm done with the report, and I will be coming back with a contract that I'll work with our county council to make sure that it's ready for you guys before mid-June, early June, or something like that is, I think, the plan. All right, let's go ahead and move on to calendars. Who's ready to start?
Okay.
Vice Chair.
Okay. Okay, well, so I got RCRC tomorrow, executive meeting. Let's see, Thursday, I have a meeting with, I think that's Caltrans, yes, Caltrans and Chief or Commander Fansler. Let's see, LCRA, right, that's in Clear Lake this time? Is that Clear Lake? Yep. All right, just making sure, because sometimes I'm at the wrong spot.
Oh, yeah, it's Clear Lake.
All right, and I think Friday, I don't think I have, I think I have something on there, but it has to do with highways, Highway 20, and it's not a Caltrans, but I think it's a constituent that wants to talk about the highways. I just went off of, there we go, sorry. And then, let's see, Monday, well, we're not meeting next week, so Monday I don't have anything on the calendar, or Tuesday. And I probably will take advantage of that. Wednesday, the 1st, East Region Town Hall. Thursday, the 2nd, FRRCC, Federal Advisory Committee for EPA. Then let's see, next week, the week after on the 6th, we have a meeting with the CAO. And then there's the Silver Foundation. They're holding the Lake County Senior Summit. That's going to be at Twin Pine Casino and Hotel, but it's the, not the recreation room, but the, what do they call it?
Center.
Yeah, yes, the center. So it'll be there, event center, sorry. And then back here on the 7th for the Board of Supervisors meeting.
Is that the Monday?
Yeah, it's Monday the 6th. I have 9, but that's just so I get there on time. I think it's at like 11 or something like that, but
Better to be early than late. Supervisor Pyska?
I have a meeting with constituents in the morning, and then I have to go to Ukiah for the NCO board meeting tomorrow. And then Thursday, I have the Soda Bay Corridor wrap-up meeting. I'm going to go to the Victims' Rights Barbecue, and then I'll go to Clear Lake for the rec agency. And then Friday, I have a couple things in the morning. Hopefully I can do both. The Zone of Benefit meeting, and then the CDBG Micro Enterprise Program Networking event. On Monday, I think I'm having coffee with a constituent, because I think CAO Parker will be unavailable, hopefully. And then I have some family medical things to do for a couple of days next week. So I will be unavailable until Thursday, and then Thursday and Friday I have the Biomass Symposium both days. Thursday I will be in Potter Valley, and Friday the 3rd I will be in Hopland. And then I don't think I'm going to go to the Silver Foundation. I'll be catching up on Monday the 6th and then back for the 7th.
All right, finished up today, pretty open this week, got a constituent meeting tomorrow afternoon. And then we'll roll right into next week. Kind of open at this point till we come back on the 7th there. Earth Day just went through. Obviously, a bunch of Earth Day events just happened. I did attend the ravioli feed this weekend. It was well attended, obviously. We had representation from all of our senator, assembly, and congressmen. So obviously, they made some announcements of, continuing to support Lake County as they move through and keep an eye on us. So good support there, and I thought it was good. So other than that, that's what I got.
Thank you. I just wanted to mention briefly, I was privileged to participate in jury service last week. I know many people don't view that as a privilege, but it is. It's a responsibility, and ended up seated on a jury. I've only been seated twice in the last 50 years, so although I've been called to serve many times, I haven't been seated on a jury before. And it was a very informative process. It gives me fresh faith that the jury system is important, that it does work, that it is critical to our system of justice. And I want to do a shout out to everyone on the fourth floor, everyone from the judge and the bailiffs and the jury commissioners and the attorneys and support staff who work so hard to keep the courts running. It is not always a fun place to be, whether you're a defendant or a juror or someone else who is justice involved, but it is such a critical process. And this board has been front and center in bringing in a new public defender and building a new office and assisting the defense bar do its job. And anyway, I'm just grateful for the opportunity. That said, this week I've already managed to blow off a Lakeport Navigation Center meeting, and I apologize to those who were on that Zoom on Monday. Last night, however, we had a great turnout. We had the Lakeport Area Plan update kickoff meeting here in the board chambers, and we also brought in the Scotts Valley Community Advisory Council for a special meeting so that they could all be here, participate without violating the Brown Act, have good internet. And I'm told that we had not only a really good turnout, but we had good internet too. So for those who are trying to tune in to that Lakeport Area Plan update, we actually had video, and that was pretty cool. Tomorrow, Lakeport Emergency Shelter Zoom at 9, just checking in how things are going. Chair Sabatier, I do want to talk with you about first 5 coverage if possible. And I have a question for the board just because it's on the calendar. I know former Supervisor Scott used to attend IHSS advisory, but I don't see it on the formal list of committee assignments for the board. So I know that they're meeting tomorrow, I believe in Lower Lake at 3:30, but I'm not aware of any board support at this point. So it's going to be their first meeting where they've had a quorum in a long, long time, and I just want to make sure that they're supported some way, somehow. And I think that's about all I got at this point.
Thank you very much. Tomorrow, starting off with Lakeport Shelter update, then the Chiefs meetings, and I need to figure out if that's in Middletown or if it's in the Oaks.
I don't know.
It was in Clear Lake last time. Or Lucerne. It was going in one direction, so. Okay. So that's where that will be. Then I have a Lake County performance review for the COC, and I will be taking the alternate position for first 5 if you still need me to be there. And then going to the Lake County Fire Protection District meeting occurring later on that afternoon. Starting Thursday off, we'll see if I can go to Judge's Breakfast. Then I have a Hope Rising Governing Board meeting. And then I have about 3 meetings all overlapping, or looks like 2. One of them is the one I'll most likely go to is our quarterly jail medical review. I find that to be very important, especially in the position on the Administration of Justice Committee for CSAC. Then on Friday, I will be going to the raising of the flag over in Austin Park, where we get to watch all the children hold on to a giant flag before it goes flying high. And that is always up between typically before Memorial Day and then after Veterans Day is when it comes down. Later on, having a discussion with many different districts and jurisdictions about developer fees. And then on the 27th, I'll be waking up bright and early for the Clear Lake Cleanup Day. That'll be at 7:30 in the morning at Austin Beach. And then once you have all of your implements and are ready to go after you've signed up and probably signed some waivers, then you can go to your own little neighborhoods or your own little area that you wanted to clean up for the day. And that's always a good day when we get a cleaner community. I'm meeting with some constituents on Monday the 29th and having my NACO Health Committee on the 1st. And I'm going to be having a check-in with what's going on with Canocti Gardens on the 2nd. And I'm just going to leave it at that for now. There's still a bunch of other stuff, but I'd have to click on every single one of them. I want to talk real quick about the CSAC conference I went to. Number one, I know I spoke to a lot of people who were really happy about the committee meeting that Supervisor Paiska is the vice chair in. I only know that it's agriculture and energy and other things. Energy and natural resources. They stated how much Lake County was being highlighted because of all the work that is happening in Lake County. Just want to thank my colleague for all the work she's doing, because that's highlighting some of her efforts that she's been working on for the past few years, and looking forward to the continued success of that position in that committee. We had an interesting committee of the Administration of Justice to talk about retail theft, and we had the DA from Sacramento as well as the Chief Public Defender from Yolo County, and it was a very balanced and very interesting conversation about what is working and what is not working, and very polar opposite perspectives of what is working and what is not working, depending on who you spoke to. And so it was a very interesting conversation, and I think it made more people walk away with thought-provoking thoughts rather than entrenching themselves further into their position and what they believe is the issue. Overall, during the Board of Directors meeting, I did vote on the behalf of Lake County on two things. One of them, two of them are measures that will be on the ballot in November. One of them is ACA 1. Which is a bill that was passed by Assemblymember Aguirre Curry, which lowers the threshold for special taxes from 2/3 to 55%, matching what schools have to go through. And I believe it's also for specific criteria of projects and not just any special tax. So please be on the lookout for that. There was a CSAC support for that measure. And then another one is ACA 13. Which, if there's ever a measure that says we want to increase it from 2/3 to 80% in order to pass, well, then that measure will require an 80% vote as well if you want to increase the threshold for special taxes, which I thought was logical, and that was supported as well by the CSAC group. There's another one that we didn't talk about and didn't vote on yet. It's still being worked on, and it's one that's definitely something we should all be paying attention to. I believe it's supposed to be ACA 3, but I could be wrong. It's one that would eliminate a whole lot of local and state taxes that have been recently approved, unless they were done before January 1st, 2022, unless they have Citizen Oversight Committee, unless they receive the 2/3, and unless they have a sunset clause. This has the potential to eliminate a lot of taxes that have been helping resolve some of the issues from our lack of resources. And so it's definitely one to pay attention to, one that will have greater impact to different communities depending on the timeline and the type of taxes that they have passed in the near past. So just something to be on the lookout for, and there's a whole bunch of other bills as well that seems to be making their way, which doesn't quite make sense within the atmosphere of such a huge deficit that our state is in, where it might put local jurisdictions at a greater inability to serve their communities the way that they should be served. I think that's all I have for my comments, and unless there's anything else anyone wish to add, I believe that is our last item.
And Jessica, maybe I missed this, but National Denim Day is Wednesday?
Friday.
I think it's the
Wednesday
24th.
the 24th.
Oh, I thought it was.
The barbecue is Friday, I think, right? Or something.
Yeah,
Wednesday,
Denim Day is Wednesday the 24th.
the 24th. I know a lot of businesses obviously are
Thank you.
taking participation in that and everyone else, but that brings a lot of awareness.
Wear your denim.
Yep.
Yeah, I had it for Friday.
All right, and that is it for all of our open session items, and we've already concluded our close, so thank you very much for joining us and hanging in there. Have yourself a wonderful evening.